success? How do we measure success? What is success? Most explanations include references relating to achieving goals and acquiring wealth, prestige, public acclaim, and of course, all that comes with it, power. When you achieve success, successful people enjoy the good life. Becoming financially secure also has an impact on their emotional well-being, and other admirers flock towards them, enjoying the fruits of their labour. These individuals are leaders, influencers, trendsetters, and opinion makers. The traits and the characteristics these people exhibit are emulated. Their accomplishments are noticed, worshipped, and sometimes adored. They radiate self-confidence. They know their goals. I listened recently to a podcaster, Joe Rogan, and when he was asked about his relationship with money, he quoted a friend who said, "Real freedom is when you can go into a restaurant and not worry about what it costs. All the rest of the disposable income is meaningless." He also said that he likes buying cars and stuff. The Travelling Wilburys brought a song out titled "End of the Line." In one of the lines it says, "Don't have to be ashamed of the car I drive at the end of the line. I'm just glad to be here, happy to be alive." It goes on to say that I'm satisfied. Rogan wasn't wrong when he explained that money brings a sort of security. Because in this fast-paced, hostile world, to have financial security is certainly a blessing. However, by these standards today, many of the individuals within the Bible, unfortunately, would be considered miserable failures. In Joshua chapter 1 verse 8 it says, "Keep this book of law always on your lips, meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." Many people think that prosperity and achieving success come from having power, influential personal contacts, and a relentless desire to get ahead. However, the strategy that God taught Joshua goes totally against such thought. Yes, God had shown and taught Joshua that he needed to be courageous for the task ahead, because it was going to be a difficult one. He needed to obey God. He needed to understand the law, God's word. This world may not recognize or accept success in terms of God's kingdom values. However, God's work is always done in God's way, and it will always bring His success. The standard for this success is not to be measured by the society around us, but by God's word. If we adjust our focus on God's thinking, we will see His standard for His success. In the book of Isaiah, he is widely accepted that he was mainly speaking to the Jews in Jerusalem, approximately 700 years before Christ. As he rose quietly, in a dignified posture, all those who were present fell silent. Isaiah steadied himself, took a deep breath, and began his prediction for future events. One of the key verses in Isaiah's address is found in Isaiah chapter 53, verses 3 to 5. He goes on to say, "He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Like one whom people hid their faces, he was despised and he was held in low esteem. Surely he took up his pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him. And by his wounds we are healed. In the beginning of his ministry, Isaiah was well liked. However, he quickly became hated by the people, the very people that he tried to help. His messages were difficult to hear because he called the people to turn away from their lives of sin, warned them of God's judgment and punishment. It is said that Isaiah died a brutal death by the people he was called to help. It is thought he was sawn in two. Isaiah is considered to be the greatest prophet today. One might say he was successful by God's standards. A little later on came Jeremiah. Jeremiah started his ministry approximately 80 to 100 years after Isaiah, and his ministry was in Judah under the last 5 kings. The nation was quickly sliding towards destruction. They were eventually conquered by Babylon. Jeremiah for 40 years served as God's spokesman to Judah. However, in all that time, nobody listened to him. He consistently urged the people to listen with a love and a passion for a nation to which Jeremiah was born. He was one of them. Whereas Isaiah it is thought that he was from a privileged background, Jeremiah was from a poor existence, a poor background. He did not attain any material success. He experienced great hardship when delivering the messages he received from God. He consistently warned the people of Judah about their disobedience and impending judgment from God, specifically the Babylonian exile. When we ignore sin and refuse to listen to God's warnings, we invite complete disaster. In Jeremiah 2 verse 19 it says, "Your wickedness will punish you. Your backsliding will rebuke you. Consider then and realize how evil and bitter it is for you when you forsake the Lord your God and have no awe of me, declares the Lord Almighty." You see, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. His messages led to strong opposition from religious leaders, government officials, and the people. He was imprisoned, beaten, placed in stocks, and then, if that wasn't enough, he was thrown into a cistern, a tank that was used for flushing toilets, and left there to die. Later on, he was fished out of there and was taken to Egypt against his will. Jeremiah was known as the weeping prophet because of his deep emotional responses to the sins of his people and the impending destruction of Jerusalem. He frequently lamented and expressed tears whilst delivering his prophecies and during all of his personal prayers. These expressions of grief reflected his profound sorrow for the consequences of his nation's unfaithfulness. While the Bible doesn't tell or detail Jeremiah's death, sources suggest that he may have been stoned to death by his own people in Egypt. Measuring success by today's standards, Jeremiah would be considered a complete failure. Yet, Jeremiah is considered one of the greatest prophets in the Hebrew Bible. He is classified as a major prophet, alongside Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel. We come to the New Testament. In Matthew chapter 6, it says, Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. And why do you worry about clothes? Do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink? It goes on to say in verse 33, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Jesus said that our loyalty is towards that which does not fade away. God's word, his righteousness. It never changes with time. To seek first his kingdom and his righteousness means to turn to God and fill our thoughts with his desires and his kingdom values. A good friend of mine posted recently on Facebook how much he enjoyed coming to the church for the first time. And one of the joking responses asked if he could now heal anyone's mind. The truth is, if you partner with God, the answer is yes, for God is searching for those who will work with him. Jesus looked at them all and said, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I suppose we should ask each other, what is important to each of us? Is it people, objects, and the comforts of this world? Planning for tomorrow is time well spent, but worrying about it is a complete and utter waste of time. Trusting in God's guidance gives us peace and clarity of thought, which alleviates each of our worries. Today, I would say to each of you, commit to God's ways. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all other things will be given to you as well. God measures success very differently to how this world understands it. In Jeremiah, he says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." God bless you.